Hey everyone, welcome back to CodeDesign Academy. In this video, I'll be introducing a new webhooks integration we've recently rolled out on CodeDesign Builder, particularly on the Data Hub workspace. For this demo, I've already created a website that's up and running, it's published, and we have this form or input section right here on the site. Now, what happens when a user submits their information? Let's say they fill out the contact form and hit submit. If we go back to the Data Hub, you'll see that the submitted data gets stored under the form section. So this is how CodeDesign natively manages form submissions. But let's say you're working with a larger team and need to share this data as an Excel sheet, Google Sheets, or to any other spreadsheet tool. To make this process easier, we've introduced a new option, Export as CSV. When you click on this button here, the file is exported as a CSV format, which can be imported into any spreadsheet using the basic import function. For example, after exporting the file, you'll see that all the data stored in the Data Hub is now in a CSV format, which you can then upload to any spreadsheet tool like this. However, there's a problem with this approach. Every time a new user submits a form, you'll have to manually export and update the CSV file again and again. That's not practical, especially for businesses or workflows that rely on real-time data. To solve this issue, we've introduced a new webhooks integration. In this video, I'll show you how to use webhooks to automatically update a Google Sheets file every time a user submits new data. To set up this integration, we're going to use an automation platform called Zapier. Zapier lets us automate the whole process so that every time a user submits data through our form on your website, it updates a Google Sheets file automatically. First, you'll need to sign up for Zapier if you haven't already. The sign-up process is pretty smooth and self-explanatory. Once you log in, you'll find a dashboard like this. Once you're on the dashboard, go to the Start from Scratch section and select Zap to create a new automation. Zap is basically a workflow that we can set up. Here we have an option to create a Zap or an automation from a prompt, but let's manually build one for this demo. See, Zapier works with two main concepts, triggers and actions. The trigger is what kicks off the automation, and in our case, that's when someone submits a form on our website. The action is what happens as a result, which will be sending that data to Google Sheets. To set up the trigger, we'll click here on the trigger and select Webhooks as the trigger application. Please note that this is a pro feature, but since we're on free trial, we can publish this integration for free. Now you'll find this webhook setting here on the right side, and we are choosing the catch hook as the trigger event. Now let's proceed by clicking on the Continue button. For this demo, let's not make any changes in this second step and click Continue again. And now Zapier will generate a unique webhook URL. Make sure to copy this URL because we'll need it in the next step. Now that we have our webhooks URL, let's connect it to the CodeDesign Builder. Go to the Builder and here on the Webhooks Integration tab, paste the URL you just copied. Now click Save Changes. Let's leave all the settings as it is for this demo. And finally publish your website. And that's it. The webhooks trigger is now set up and ready to receive data whenever someone submits the form. To make sure everything is working, we need to test the trigger. To do that, first, go to the website and submit a test entry. And it's successfully submitted. Now, let's go back to Zapier and click the Test Trigger button. If everything is set up correctly, you should see the submitted data appear in Zapier right here. That means the webhooks is successfully capturing the form data from CodeDesign in real time to the trigger. Now let's set up the second part of the process, which is the action that sends this data to Google Sheets. By clicking on Action here, you'll find a list of apps you can connect with, but for this demo, let's select Google Sheets as the app. Now you'll find the Google Sheet action settings on the right side. For the action event, let's choose the Create Spreadsheet Row option. Once that's done, you'll need to sign in with your Google account and give Zapier permission to access your Google Sheets. Once that's done, go to Google Sheets and create a new spreadsheet. Please note that this is a very critical part of the process. Once the new sheet is created, let's give it a name and, most importantly, add headers or section name in the first row. Since our form has 3 fields for name, email, and message, we'll create the headers for that. You can arrange the sections in any order as you'll be later mapping each fields from the form to each rows on this Google Sheet. And there we go, the sheet is good to go. Now let's go back to Zapier and continue setting up. Here on the settings, let's specify which exact sheet we need to write to. I'm selecting my Google Drive first. Then I'm going ahead to select the Google Sheet that I created, which is Demo Sheet-CodeDesign. Up next, let's choose Sheet 1 as the worksheet we'll be using. Now, here comes the fun part. We need to map the form data from webhooks to the correct columns in the spreadsheet. And as you see here, the headers that we created on the Google Sheets appears here. And just like this, select Name for the Name field, Email for the Email field, and Message for the Message field. Now let's proceed by clicking on the Continue button. Once that's done, let's click Test to check if everything is working. If successful, the test data from webhooks should now show up in your Google Sheet. And voila, perfect. Now, let's finalize everything. I'm giving this Zap a name, and finally click Publish here to activate it. From now on, anytime someone submits a form on your website, their data will be automatically added to Google Sheets without you having to do anything manually. Let's do one final check to make sure everything is running smoothly. Go back to your website and submit another test entry, let's say John, with the email john@cd.ai and the message, "This is a test message." Now head over to Google Sheets, and there it is. The data appears instantly in the next available row. That means everything is working perfectly. So now, whenever a new form submission comes in, it'll automatically get added to Google Sheets, making data collection super easy and hassle-free. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out through comments, support chats, or the CodeDesign forum.